Hey guys, hope you're well. My name is Jason Delaney, Dr. Jason Delaney. I'm an economist, an assistant professor of economics here at UALR, and just want to say hello, introduce myself, introduce the course a little bit. You're in quantitative business methods or quantitative analysis. The name varies depending on the source, but in any case, it's the second of two course sequence in business statistics. Hopefully, you feel good about business statistics. If the past experience is any indication, that seems a little unlikely. But I promise this is a fun class. You're going to learn a lot. It's summertime, which means that we have 5 weeks. That is not a lot of weeks. That is relatively few weeks. And statistics is hard. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of a hard class. It doesn't matter what your major is. You have to take statistics in a whole slew of majors, and very rarely do people say, "Man, you know what I would love to do is take that class again." It's kind of a shame. I have the faith of the converted when it comes to statistics. I think it's amazing and powerful and wonderful. And it's hard. It is hard, but there's no kind of fun like doing something hard that you then succeed at. Like, you're gonna feel smart by the time you're done with this, and you might feel tired and dumb in the sense that you need to take a nap, but you're gonna feel like you learned something. I promise. So what is statistics? What is this class about? Well, in principle, what we do in the workplace, in whatever, in my research, in as scientists, social scientists, right, and as business people, is we want to make decisions based on information about the whole world, right? So if you have a business, you run a business, or you work at a business, you want to know about your entire customer base. But if you're doing well, that's really big. You can't get all your customers in one room. But fortunately, thanks to statistics, that's okay. You don't need to get all your customers. You just need to get a sample of your customers, a subset of them. And you can fit a sample of customers in your room. Or you can email a sample of your customers and get responses from them. And then, thankfully, you can use these tools that we're going to develop in this class to understand not just that sample, but the entire population of your customers. That's true for lots of situations. You want to understand your workforce. You want to understand the behavior of a beetle, whatever. Statistics is useful all over, and so that's something that people do a lot. We're going to start with kind of the basic concepts to just make sure everybody's on the same page with probability. We'll do a little bit of review, then we'll move into hypothesis testing and confidence intervals, where we kind of do some inference, try to draw conclusions based on a sample about the population at large as a whole. And then from there, we'll move on to more powerful sort of sophisticated tools like regression analysis, where we can analyze relationships between different parts of a population, different characteristics. So if you want to know something about purchasing power or propensity based on income or age, we can learn some stuff about that, or whether going to college is a good idea, what the return on education is like, how wage is affected by education. Regression tools are good for that. We're going to finish up with forecasting. We'll look at how to make projections of what the future will look like. So yeah, that's the stuff we're going to cover. It's fascinating. It's brilliant. I often say that algebra was really useful when you needed to fire a cannon and figure out where the cannonball was going to land, right? You had to learn about a quadratic equation so you can predict the parabolic arc. But most of the kind of economic gains of algebra, like, you still need to know algebra. You totally do. But you're probably not going to, start a company based on algebra and make a couple $1 million. Statistics is young. It's a very young science. It's a very young set of techniques. You can still make a couple of $1 million by starting a company just based on statistical analysis. So you should do that. Anyway, how's stuff going to work in this class? It's an online class, and unfortunately my family and I are moving, so I will not be in my office. I like this office. It's very nice. I have a window that you can't see on camera, but it's really nice. But I'm going to be on the road and in boxes for a lot of this summer. That is not in any way going to diminish your experience of this class. You should just know that that's what's happening in the background and be amazed at how well I managed to keep up with it. Anyway, I am going to have office hours online. Usually the way that I've done that in the past with summer online classes is I do an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening. So say 9 to 10 a.m. and 3 to 4 p.m. I'll be on kind of processing whatever stuff you guys have sent me. But yeah, I'm going to be on the road. But I'll have what being on the road means ultimately is that the easiest way to get in touch with me, if you absolutely have to get in touch with me because your tree fell on your only computer, or it landed on all three of your computers simultaneously, and you're just in trouble, you should email me. I guess at that point it would be difficult to email me. Maybe you can email me with your phone. jjdilling@ualr.edu. Check the syllabus for everything. The syllabus should be up there, maybe. I don't know what it looks like on your screen right now. But if you email me, that's the best way to get in touch with me. That said, your primary mode of communication in this class should not be email. It should be the discussion boards. The discussion boards are incredibly valuable. There's 3 up, I think, is the way that I'm treating it this semester. 1 for just sort of introductions and socializing. You see an excellent episode of Phineas and Ferb. You want to post about it. That's where that goes. There's a section for discussing sort of problems, right? You're doing the problem sets, and you have a question, or you're working on a quiz, and you just don't, you get stuck. You can do that with quizzes in this class. Those are not designed to be totally exclusive. Then there's a discussion board for that, and then last for technical problems, right? So your browser's not working, you can't watch the videos or something like that. Post those there, and I'd encourage everybody to respond to each other's questions as well. Really, you learn more probably from teaching it. That's how I learned this stuff. Is I learned it past the class, and then I started teaching it, and then I really learned it. And so when you explain to other people how to get the answer, you learn even better. There are quizzes. There's going to be 1 for every learning module, except I think the first 2. The first one's getting started, and that's just like introduce yourself. And the second one is a review, because you have to pass the qualification exam. If you haven't done that already, you have to do that as soon as possible. So you have to pass that qualification exam. After that, there's going to be a quiz in every learning module. Those quizzes are not good preparation for the exam, so I wouldn't take the quizzes and think, oh, I'm good for the exam. The quizzes are designed just to keep you engaged, to let you know if you have no problem with this stuff, or if you're struggling a little bit. But they're there really kind of just as kind of comprehension self-tests, and to get you guys talking to each other, and to kind of keep me apprised. If I don't see how you're doing on quizzes, and I'm never going to know if you know what you're doing or not until you get to the exams. To prepare for the exams, the practice problems are really the preparation, and because it's a summer class, you're going to have to spend a lot of time on those. So I would recommend, make sure you print that stuff out, or keep it on your screen, bust out legal pads. Really, just as many. You need pencil and paper to learn this stuff, and you just have to work it out. There's no better way. The grade in this class is primarily composed of the grades for 3 exams. They're spaced throughout the semester, which in a 5-week semester means you have like 1 week 2, 1 week 4, and 1 week 5. That's it. It's going to be crazy, but it should be fun. Tips for the class: how to succeed. My first tip would be to get comfortable with Excel early on. It'll speed things up a lot if you know the formulas. If you know equals zdist and equals tdist and stuff, you can use that. It's like it's like a really excellent statistical calculator. My second tip I've said already, but please post questions and answers on the discussion boards. You're gonna, students who do well in this class are students who answer questions in this class. And I really think that the causal arrow, it goes in the other direction. That answering questions makes you do better. Finally, watch the videos. I've spent a fair bit of time recording videos. This is the only time you'll get to see me until the end of the semester, but I've spent a fair time. You'll hear my voice. I have a headset and a little tablet thing that I write on. You'll hear my voice. You'll see me writing stuff down, and there's nothing like watching it done to learn how to do this stuff. So watch the videos. You can pause them. You can slow them down. I talk kind of fast, but on YouTube, they're all on YouTube, and you should be able to pause those pretty readily. Yeah, those are the tips. Do the problems, do them again, do them a third time. You'll understand eventually. It's one of those things that eventually it works its way into muscle memory, and you just kind of get it. The most important material we'll cover, just in terms of the way I view this, what's most useful going forward. Tests for hypothesis tests for 2 means. That's something that I use pretty regularly. And multiple regression, where you're looking at relationships between a bunch of explanatory variables and something that you care about. Okay, so that's the class. About me, as I said, my name is Dr. D. You can call me. I have 2 kids, ages 4 and 1. My daughter's 4. She's brilliant and crazy. My son is 1, and he's hilarious. He's toddling and falling over and throwing things and making messes, and mostly just a very happy kid, so we're very lucky there. I've been teaching this class for 2 years. I use statistics a lot in my life and job. Most people don't know this, I guess, about teachers. I guess teachers don't talk to students enough. But teaching is kind of like what I do to pay the bills. That's kind of how this works, right? So the way I often describe it is I get paid to teach, but I get to keep my job because I do research. And I do research I do experimental economics. I look at kind of human behavior in the lab. So we get students like yourselves in a computer lab, and we have them play games, and then we change kind of the structure of the game, and then we analyze it statistically to see if changing the game changes behavior. And we can use that to analyze things like, do people can you use taxes to change people's behavior, or can you just tell them not to do, does that work as well as just prohibiting it or asking nicely? So that's some of what I do. Some more of what I do is looking at sort of, regional expenditure, public expenditure stuff. I don't know. I work on a lot of stuff, but in some sense, that's my, that's why what I get to keep my job for. That's how you get to be a professor, to work on that stuff. So I use statistical analysis all the time in that stuff. I started out as an English Lit major. Comp Sci is something else I studied. So I was a graphic designer for a little while. Worked in textbook publishing. Was once going to be a novelist. I don't know where. I'm an economist now and I love it. And who knows what's next. But yeah, that's me. That's me in a nutshell. I hope that this has been useful. I am confident that the next 5 weeks will be not boring. Not boring. So I'll be right there with you. Next, what you should do is go introduce yourself in the discussion board, which should be up there, I think, if you're watching this inside Blackboard. If not, then it's on that side of the screen in Blackboard, and there should be a discussion board called Introductions and Socializing, and that's where you should go, and tell me your name and who you are and what you're like, etc. Cool. Thanks, guys. I look forward to a good summer, and we'll talk more later. Bye.